Well, it's been a record weekend for Halloween. I think it's the second largest opening in October history, 77 million, and the biggest opening in Halloween franchise history.
Yeah.
Which is good, because when I saw the grosses to The Nun, I was like, oh, God, I hope like Halloween does comparable numbers to The Nun.
Oh,
Jesus.
yeah.
Like Sister Act is a horror movie. What? Anyway.
Yeah, I'm glad too. I really am. I mean, it's good. I don't think I was quite as crazy about it as you were, but there's things I like about it. For sure.
What do you like about it?
I really like the first half of it. I like the, where we're getting reintroduced to Laurie and the relationships with her daughter and the estrangement and all that stuff with daughter and granddaughter and how she's scarred emotionally by everything that's happened all those years ago. And I thought there was a lot of good character stuff in the first half of it. Unfortunately, my big problem with it was that I felt like they just went into the gross out mode, which is to me a little lazy when you just go for, there's that scene where he stomps ahead like a grape and all that stuff. And when you get into that, to me, it's no different than those countless remakes and clones and sequels that we used to get in the early 80s. It really kind of cheapened it for me when they got into that. But, it holds up for a large portion of its running time. There's a great performance, that Jamie Lee Curtis, she's terrific, of course, and there's a little message of female empowerment that's undercurrent that runs throughout the movie, and I like all that, and so I think it's skillfully directed. I think there's some really suspenseful scenes, and I do think that there is some good things there, but I felt like they took the cheap route out before it was all said and done, and was a little let down by that. But far be it from me to say it's bad. I didn't dislike it for sure, and so anyway, I'll be interested to hear your take on it.
Well, doesn't everything that you just said about it make it the Citizen Kane of the past 8 movies in the franchise?
Well,
I mean, comparatively, I thought it was really smashingly effective for the most part. There's things that I don't like. The things that I don't like in it is I don't like how they seem so desperate to show as much of Michael's face as possible without showing the whole thing in focus full on. Because right. I don't want to know that Michael has a gray beard. I want him, that makes him seem mortal. I want him to be the Shadow. I want him to, I want him to be mythical. I don't want to know that he's got wrinkles and all that shit. I like that it actually feels like it takes place during Halloween, not only fall, but Halloween. I mean, there are real trick-or-treaters out there on the block and everything, which a lot of the Halloween franchise movies just don't really engage much in, surprisingly, creating that atmosphere. I thought that was a wonderful sequence where it's edited to look like an unbroken shot, where he's going in various houses and smashing away. And I love Jamie Lee Curtis in it, and especially there's a scene that she has at a restaurant table where she's meeting her family, and she just can't deal with it. You really kind of feel her, and it's not a subversive message like a lot of horror movies do, to their credit, of kind of the Me Too connections here, but it's not preachy and it's not too precious either. It feels organic to the material, her journey. So they're not congratulating themselves on making a movie that has political implications, because I think they play that naturally. The music's great. I thought a lot of the humor was great. I thought the references to the previous films, especially the "He looks down and she's gone" reference, was very nice. And most of all, I like the people in it, and I like the characters in it, even like the side characters, and they weren't afraid to kill them off. I mean, they kill off
Yeah.
a little boy. I hate to give it. Maybe I'll cut that part out. But at the same time, they kill off a lot of people that you grow sort of an affection for.
Yeah.
The psychiatrist character was unnecessary, and the third act twist that they gave him was unnecessary as well.
Yeah.
But I did like the premise of her being stuck in the back of that car, unable to get out. So, I was fine with it. It's like a B for me.
Yeah, I mean, I gave it a B minus. 2.5 stars is what I gave it. So I think we're close. I think we're very close.
I mean, you have the haters out there. Oh God, it was awful. It's like, as opposed to what, the past 10 movies of the franchise? Like, what are you comparing it to?
You're right. Well, the thing for me was anything after Halloween 2, I think we might have gotten into this before, but anything after Halloween 2 just made no sense to me at all because, they shot his eyes out at the end of Halloween 2. So theoretically, if he's going around killing, he's got to have a seeing eye dog. And then, in 4, they ask us to actually believe that Laurie is dead and that Dr. Loomis is alive. Well, we saw Dr. Loomis get blown to bits. And Laurie survived, so they're right there.
Yeah.
They're the whole thing is just thrown out of whack for me. I mean, I saw it when it came out, but I thought just
the
crazy.
Plausibility thing is plausibility standards that you can't really apply to this kind of stuff.
This is true.
So, I didn't think it was plausible that they were like the safest place you can go is to Jamie Lee Curtis's house, to her family.
Yeah.
When the sheriff doesn't know that she's got all these traps and stuff. And that's the first place that Michael's going to be going.
Of course.
So it seems foolhardy.
I thought it was a little implausible, the fact that they're transporting him just coincidentally on the 40th anniversary of the original murders. That's a little tough to swallow, too. But, okay. But anyway.
And Evil Incarnate is being transferred with people that I think they ran through some of the charges against the other people, and they weren't really that bad.
Right.
But it takes a swipe. It takes a swipe at podcasters too, which was fine.
I know. Yeah, it sure did. Yeah, sure did. Yeah,
that's fine. I feel the same way about them sometimes. But I rewatched 3, and it's one of the great whacked out movies ever. Like whatever that plot is. They're using Stonehenge to do. I don't even know, but that evil character has this big monologue where he breaks down his plot. And I'm like, you're kidding me! Like, what kind of drugs did these people do when they're writing the script? It's like amazingly wacky, and they greenlit that. But at the same time, I mean, that's the only reason to really find much enjoyment out of it.
Well, I always thought it had a nice atmosphere of dread that they managed to conjure up. I enjoyed that. It's a little creepy and unnerving at the beginning of it, before you really get into the nuts and bolts of it like you're talking about. And it's a great score. Oh, my God, I love that score.
It is. Yeah.
Carpenter's score is terrific. And I think you and I have talked about this off the air before, but on the Blu-ray, there's a terrific, they have that Horror's Hallowed Grounds thing, and the director of the movie, Tommy Lee Wallace, he recreates the makeout scene between Tom Atkins and Stacey Nelkin that takes place. He recreates that with the guy doing the documentary on the Horror's Hallowed Grounds, where they revisit the filming locations. They actually found the old hotel room where they shot it, and they recreated that. It's terrific. It's so funny.
I know where the hotel is.
Yeah.
So they actually shot inside those little hotel rooms too.
They did. They sure did. Yeah, that was surprisingly. But yeah, and there's so many nods to the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers in that one too, because even the town is Santa Myra, which is the town from the 56 Invasion of the Body Snatchers, So there's just all kinds of nods to that movie. And there's there's kind of, the whole thing about the robots replacing people, and there's a lot of, you can tell they were big fans of Invasion of Body Snatchers. So.
Well, this new one I did enjoy the throwbacks, and a lot of them are very subtle. When they go to the cemetery to see Judith Meyer's headstone, I was looking out for it because they shot this one in North Carolina or South Carolina, and they shot the original in Pasadena for the most part. So I was looking for familiar gravestones. So when they go to Judith Meyer's headstone in this new one, there's the tombstone that has Sinclair written on it behind them, just like in the original. So I was like, okay, well, they paid attention to that. And then there's, speaking of Halloween 3, there are kids wearing the Halloween 3 masks that are trick-or-treating.
Yes, that's true.
And they even have, I think, a throwback to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I guarantee you that in the scene where the granddaughter is running through the woods at night and reaches her house and trips and falls, and she's surrounded by those mannequins that Jamie Lee Curtis does target practicing on, and she starts screaming, and the camera's panning in and out of those mannequins, and her screams, and then it cuts really quick to the moon as the music crescendos. I mean, that reminded me exactly of the dinner table scene in Chainsaw, like that whole atmosphere and a frenzy, and finally ending with a shot of the moon. So there, I was shocked that the new Halloween came out of David Gordon Green, who I like him fine. I met him. He was a very nice guy.
Sure,
but his movies have, for the most part, the tone of that he does, which is very laid back. So for him to have made something so kind of relentless, ultimately, I was very surprised by that from him.
Yeah, I met him too. When I covered the Atlanta Film Festival years ago, we had a brunch with him, and he's so unassuming. He's just a laid back guy, like you said. And I was fascinated by how he could, in the same calendar year, do these really dark dramas. For anybody out there listening who doesn't know some of his movies from the early 2000s, he did some really good stuff, like All the Real Girls and Snow Angels with Kate Beckinsale. Is one of her best performances, I think. I love both of those, and just really powerful stuff. And then the same year as Snow Angels, I believe he did Pineapple Express, and I said, wow, how do you switch gears like that?
Right.
He said, it's the only way I can work. He said, it's such a dark atmosphere that I'm immersed in with these movies, because they're these dark dramas. He said the only way I know to get my mind in a different place and move forward is to just take on some goofy comedy and do